as a Afro-Latina, as a Black woman, as an immigrant from a low-income background, all my life I've been seeking to be understood. And I thought that my crew, those that were part of it, always had to understand all parts of me, because who doesn't want to write beats?
Welcome to Real Talk with Real Leaders, inspiration for radical freedom dreamers, a space where we uplift powerful voices, discover deep wisdom, and spark the courage needed to lead in today's sea of uncertainty. Together, we'll reimagine what's possible, one conversation at a time. I'm your host, Dr. Tracey Samone, Queen of Clarity and Care, and your go-to strategist, facilitator, and coach, helping social impact leaders and organizations get unstuck and get things done. Today, we have a fabulous leader lined up, but first, let's anchor down in the Anchor Way. The Anchor Way is a leadership framework designed to help leaders move forward with clarity, connection, cohesion, care, and courage, even in turbulent waters. Let's take a closer look. Think about leadership like a boat. To move through uncertain waters, it needs to be well-built, well-guided, and well-powered. Every boat is built from something. At the foundation of effective leadership are three essential materials. Clarity, a grounded understanding of where you're headed and why it matters. Connection, the ability to build trust, communicate honestly, and stay rooted in relationships. And cohesion, the alignment between your values, your vision, and your daily decisions. This is what effective leadership is built on. Without it, the structure is fragile, no matter how bold your vision or how skilled your team. Aboard every boat are essentials for the journey to help you set direction, carry the work, and guide your people. The first is the compass, your direction. It represents your vision, your priorities, and your sense of purpose. It helps you stay oriented even when conditions around you are shifting. Next is the cargo, the actual work you're responsible for carrying, the programs you run, the commitments you hold, the culture that you're shaping. These are the things you're building, protecting, or transforming through your leadership. Then there's the crew, the people you lead and journey with, your peers, your partners, your team. They depend on you for clarity, direction, and care. And you depend on them to carry the mission forward. Leadership means resourcing and aligning your crew so that you can move forward together. Below the surface, every organization is influenced by the current. These are the external forces like policy shifts, funding pressures, or community needs that shape your course, whether you like it or not. You can't control the current, but you can learn how to navigate it. And what propels the boat forward are two internal forces: care and courage. Care is how you lead with humanity. Courage is how you make hard decisions with integrity. Both are necessary to move through resistance and build something real. Every interview in this series is grounded in one or more parts of the Anchor Way, because we believe leadership is not just about vision. It's about structure, systems, and soul. Hi, welcome back, leaders. Today we're going to be talking about crew, which are the people you lead with and are supported by. And we have Yulkendy here with us to talk. And I know Yulkendy because we have shared spaces of social impact entrepreneurship. And every time I'm in the room with her, everything that comes out of her mouth is golden. And I'm just always in awe of the way she commands space. And so I just knew I had to ask her to be here today because I know she's got some nuggets for us. So I'm going to kick it off to you, Yulkendy. You can just tell the people who you are, tell them a little bit about yourself, and then we'll jump into the question.
Thank you so much. That's a super kind introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Yulkendy Valdez. I was born in the Dominican Republic, moved to St. Louis, Missouri at the age of 10, going on 11, where there weren't a lot of Dominicans. So I really, at a young age, had to adapt and navigate a lot of spaces where I was the only in the room. And that has really impacted me now in business because I'm able to use those skills that I learned as a teenager, now navigating spaces in technology and entrepreneurship. I'm a founder, first most. I love building businesses, but these days I'm in the other side, supporting other early stage entrepreneurs and building their startups with resources around fundraising, sales, or just community, because it can get really lonely out there. And that's why I'm super excited to talk about Crew today.
I love that. I love hearing your history and how you have been the only. So I can imagine the impact of having crew now for you. And so as a leader, who is a part of your crew? Like, how do you choose your team that supports you or that leads alongside you?
Yes, and what I learned and adapted over the years is that your crew shouldn't be stagnant. It has been changing so much, and I had to be open to the crew. Whoever comes in front of me, I really believe in the power of the science of luck and serendipity. Right, when you put purpose out there, you attract the right people, the right resources. You just have to be willing to get through the awkwardness and the early stages of relationship development, build that trust. But often the universe provides. I'm a big believer of that. So it has changed. One relationship that hasn't changed and I'm very lucky to have in my life is me mommy. I called my mom my business advisor, my coach, because anytime things get hard, she's the first one I get on the phone every day and say, you can't give up. Things are only going to get even more challenging, but you're up for it. So my mom is in my crew. And then over the years, I really amassed a network of community of folks with different skills and talent. So I have my crew that can support me around entrepreneurship, uh, sales, relationship building. I know I can go vent to them, or if I'm dealing with a specific situation in business, and they'll give me the right advice. On the other hand, I have my crew around creativity and support. Sometimes we're too kind of tied to one bucket, one experience. Is this really important for me to have crew with completely different interests and passions than myself? Again, that requires putting yourself out there. So I'm based in New York City, going to different events, meeting different people, whether it's salsa dancing last night or learning how to make herbal pillows. I'm there, I'm showing up and trying to learn from someone that's different from me. And that's how I built my crew over the years and make sure it is adaptable to to meet the different needs of life.
I love that, the idea of like accepting that your crew may change throughout seasons of your life and also having a variety of perspectives around you that can give you different angles for how to deal with stuff. And also, I love salsa dancing too. So, maybe when you're in the A or I'm in New York, we might need to add that to the list so we can be on each other's crew. Talk to me a little bit about how you know when you have the right people in the right seats. Like, when is it time to make adjustments to your crew? How do you know these things?
Yeah, I think as a Afro-Latina, as a Black woman, as an immigrant from a low-income background, all my life I've been seeking to be understood. And I thought that my crew, those that were part of it, always had to understand all parts of me. Because
Mm-hmm.
who doesn't want to, right, be seen and value in that way? But what I learned to realize as part of my leadership journey is that, you know, no one can understand all parts of us. But the question becomes, the vetting mechanism becomes, do they value you? Do they respect you? And is there reciprocity? And the last piece would be, can I show up authentically in the relationship? Again, not as a whole all the time, but can I show pieces of me in an authentic way, and is that received with grace and care? And that's how I've gone about navigating my crew and who's in it, and if and making sure those folks are in the right seats to support me and my purpose, just as the way I hope to support them. I might, they might be in a particular seat for me. They might provide something for me, and for them, I might provide something completely different. So it's different for everyone. It's just about having that conversation and being radically transparent about your needs and your values. But those are things that I thought about, but it was hard at the beginning, right? Because um, that feeling is so natural and so human of not feeling understood
Mm-hmm.
and questioning, right? Do I have the right people on the table? But it's all about just having those conversations and making those decisions from there.
Yeah, I love that. I hear a really strong thread of like mutual aid, like and not necessarily like the exact I don't do the exact same thing for you that you do for me, but this is like a mutual experience where we are both giving to one another and receiving from one another and willing to communicate the needs at the same time.
100%.
So, what's something that your crew has taught you lately, recently?
Yes, I call it the inner child stuff, the eldest daughter, but I'm still figuring out how to not take so much pressure in, or call it, perfectionism, or thinking I have to do X and Y Z and do all those things. And I'm just constantly reminded by my crew that, hey, I don't have to do everything. They don't have to do everything either. We can kind of be in sync and adapt as we go, and continue to spread that load and burden, especially during these busy times where a lot is going on. We're seeing a lot in our screens and social media, and our energies can be very heavily affected. So again, we might be bringing 100% one week, but then the following week we might be giving 15, 20%. So how can you continue to be in communication with your crew, and it's okay for those expectations to change over time. So yeah, I've been learning that a lot. Easier said than done, because it's completely normal, right, to feel that you have that pressure to perform all the time at a certain level. But the reality is that we can, and we shouldn't. Right? There's other metrics of of success than what's on paper. Like, we really have to be checking for, how do we feel in our moment? Like, are we being a good collaborator, partner, colleague, friend? How are you treating the people around you? Because it's not good to produce if you're not being a good person and just human along the way. So that's something that I tend to look for.
Yeah, steward in those relationships. I know for me, I feel like we both possess identities that tend to put a lot of pressure on us to show up a certain kind of way. Like we've been socialized to like work really hard and we got to do it all ourselves and we got to be strong. And so, what is it like for you? Like, how do you lean into the support that your community provides for you, your crew provides for you? How do you allow yourself to be like, you know what? I actually don't have to do this all by myself.
Yeah, I love that question, because right, it's with crew, is you can only get as much as you lean in. Right? It does take a lot of effort. And that's why sometimes it's just easy to be like, I'm just gonna do this on my own. But again, what's the beauty on that? Like, most of the things that we tend to be proud of involve like a team effort, involve multiple stakeholders. Again, you just got to get through the ugly parts of, right, of working together, and tension that might sometimes pop up in community. So one, I just listen. I really lean into listening skills. I think that's the best thing you can do as a leader. Deep listening and empathy building. So even when there's busy times, just always allowing that time for emotional check-in, for how we're doing either here. Like, it's better to get that out than hold that in
Mhm.
and then keep doing business as usual. So I think that's how I lean in, because through listening and empathy building, a lot comes out, and from there you can readjust and say, hey, you're right. I actually need X and Y Z this week. Can you help? Can you support me? Or can we move this meeting? Or can we actually connect at a different date? So I think for me, one way I've been actively doing it, which sometimes I still feel bad about it. But for example, something that has happened after the pandemic is we all have gotten comfortable with so a lot of virtual meetings
Yes.
because we're like, oh, we can do it. We're not going anywhere. And something I do is say, hey, I can't get on this call. It's really like I'm so overstimulated already. Is not the best thing for me. But can we send voice messages this week, or can we send a text here and there, or can we, even if it's gonna take an extra 3 more weeks, can we wait till we meet in person and we're truly present? And it sucks to say, hey, I can't do that now. I can't get on the phone now. I can't have this meeting now. But you just gotta, it's important for us to listen to our inner needs. And some people might walk away. They might realize, the way you communicate, the way you think doesn't work for me. Some people actually take me up on that offer, and they're willing to be adaptable to my needs. And then I just have to give it back and try to be adaptable to theirs. But I think part about what's building a crew is that it's natural. It should be organic. Whenever we're fortunate, it's probably not the right crew. I realize that, again, you just have to let the universe provide, and the people that are meant for you will work with you, just like you will work with them.
What has been the reward on the other end of asking for what you need, asking your crew for what you need, saying like, "Hey, I can't really meet at this point. Can we do this or that instead?" What have been the benefits for you in leaning into that courage and naming your needs?
I'm happier. I'm more energized. I'm more present. And when I'm able to do that, I can then support my crew better. I can follow up. It's like, hey, you said you needed X and Y, Z, or you've been thinking about. I can connect the dots because, again, a big role of being in community is to add to that community, right? So you have to make either further introductions, provide more resources that are aligned to that person's path. And sometimes you can only do that if you can be present and actually listen to what they want. So when I'm able to receive that flexibility, I am able to contribute more to my crew.
Mm-hmm. Let's switch gears a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about your leadership legacy. So, if there was nothing holding you back, what would the next chapter of your leadership look, feel like? What would you be doing? If the sky was the limit.
Yes, I think one thing that and there could, there's privilege around this, and I have a lot of discussion around, the world right now is scary. There's a ton going on, and there's so many ways we can contribute as individuals, as leaders, and time is limited. How can we spend our leadership in the causes that we most care about? But there's also, right, other responsibilities at play, and that's how we make decisions with our time, right? We might have to take care of our families financially. We might have some responsibility things to account related to our health, and that might require us to be in a certain role versus another. But if those limitations were thrown out, I really want to spend like the next decade, just like I did most of my 20s, which part of my story is that I turned down stable jobs in corporate America to build a social venture, and right out of college, and I had to make that call to my mom, my business coach, who at the time was not happy. Obviously, as a first gen college graduate, right, that was a huge risk to take. But to me, spending my life closest to my community and the issues that I care about, and contributing just a small bucket just was so meaningful. And in my next step of my leadership journey, I want to do more things that create more meaning in my life, especially when everything else seems meaningless because of a lot of the current leadership examples that we see are not doing the right thing. So how can we step up in our little ways to do the right things and do it in community? Because we're not going to solve these issues on our own. And again, we go back to crew
Yes.
and why I'm constantly trying to meet people in different industries, whether working in health equity, working in the space of climate, environment, or working in um, aerospace, food, all the things. Like I am just always curious. I'm a sponge because I want to be closest to those innovations. And that's how I expand my crew. So when the time comes, I hope to contribute to those causes more actively. And definitely I always have some projects on the side and some things that I'm working on that I'm excited to get going in the next few years.
So, what do you want your legacy of leadership to be? When it's all said and done, what do you want people to say about you?
Yes, to me, it's always been I want to provide a mic to those that haven't been given a voice and a platform. I believe in the power of storytelling. So I want my legacy to be around stories, representation, and ensuring that more and more voices are heard and empower and have the resources to create the solutions they need in their community. But I believe it always starts with a story, one mic.
I love that. Thank you so much for your time and joining us today and giving us all your nuggets of wisdom. I know the leaders are going to learn a lot watching you today. And again, leaders, thank you for joining us as well. I'm Dr. Tracey Samone, your go-to strategist, facilitator, and coach, queen of clarity and care, helping you get unstuck and get things done so you can build a legacy that lasts. And we will see you next Friday. Bye. Thank you for joining us for Real Talk with Real Leaders, Inspiration for Radical Freedom Dreamers. This space is here to remind you that your story, your vision, and your leadership are part of reimagining what's possible. If you're a leader ready to share your voice, scan the QR code on the screen to apply to be featured. Together, we're fueling radical freedom dreamers, leaders daring to chart new courses for our communities and our world. Until next time, keep anchoring, keep leading,